I'm just going to ask kind of openly, and anyone who wants to answer can answer. But I'm curious to hear, do any of you have any personal stories of facing challenges and biases within the film or screen-based industry? And how do you find that this mentorship is helping you overcome those?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, like my entry into the film industry was in the camera department, which is pretty dude vibes. And this was kind of like COVID days when I was starting as like a trainee on set and stuff, and so we were all wearing masks and whatnot, and I tend to present pretty masculine. And it was funny, the first week it was like, you know, trainees, like typically it's like, oh, can you go pick that up? Can you do this? Can you lift that? Whatever. They were always like kind of like, oh, hey bud, like, hey little bud, like, can you like come move this over there, whatever. And then I realized that they thought I was like a high school boy for the first few days. And then we went out for beers on Friday. They were like, oh shit, like, no, 20 in her 20s. Okay, cool. So that was pretty funny. I just feel like I've had a lot of kind of experiences like that in camera specifically. I think I get questioned a lot. I shoot independently, like a lot of documentaries, and I've been on like camera operators on that kind of thing. And I think that people don't always trust my judgment from time to time. I feel like I have to be a bit louder, being like, nope, this is how we should do the shot, you know, or like, nope, we should do it this way. So I feel like just bumping up against that. Also being a queer person, I feel like definitely experienced some pretty direct homophobia on set, which is frustrating, and yeah, no real solution, especially when you're in kind of like a lower position. But yeah, I feel like it's made me, I've been really lucky to work with quite a few female directors, and I think that's allowed me to kind of see a path that I want to take, and hopefully can get there. Yeah, camera's not quite my passion, but it's taught me a lot. So anyways, I hope that answers.
This is a question for everyone. So what do you think are some of the most pressing issues facing women in film today? And how can we promote more diverse and inclusive storytelling? Kaitlyn?
I think one of the biggest issues today would be respecting the individual voice of a woman. I think that I hear like a collective frustration with people, you know, not respecting our input and what we have to say, as if we didn't have years of experience on this earth, like learning things and trying different things. There's almost like a tone of like someone's patronizing you because you're a woman, so just because of your sex, which is so strange because we're in 2025. But it's like, if I think about the professional industry and places I've worked, no matter my work ethic, no matter how many times I show up, no matter if I do more than the next person, because I'm a woman, and if I am strong in my voice and saying what I need to be said, even if it's polite, people seem to still have a problem with that. And I'm not quite sure why, but it's almost if you're a strong woman, it's even more offensive to the collective society. So I guess it's not that we have to make our voices digestible, but people have to learn to hear strong women regularly, and whatever friction or internal misogyny they have, they need to assess where that's coming from and why they feel the need to like take those people down, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. Great answer. Does anyone else want to chime in on this one?
I've had a couple of experiences where, you know, that has happened. You've been patronized. You've just been kind of, you know, you're trying to explain something. And I, in my earlier career, I had a lot of incidents where I tried to be a little more forceful, and I tried to use my voice, and I was very strong, and I was shut down, or I was pushed, like literally pushed, or had water bottles thrown at my head, things like that. And then as the years went on and I got more experience and I got a little bit stronger and a little bit more confidence in myself, people, I have to say, and again, it's just specifically for me, but Now when I'm on a film set, people they no longer see me as a woman. Now I'm just Michele AD. They forget that I'm actually a woman, and I don't know, if that just, that comes with a little bit of experience, but I also think that people don't want to listen. Because especially in the entertainment business, especially if you're talking to people who have more experience or they think they know more, they don't want to listen. They want to tell you how it's going to go. And I think we really have to stay strong and use our voice in whatever way we can. So whether you're doing film, documentaries, anything, make sure you're just getting it out there, putting it in every festival, getting everything out there, and just using your voice to tell those stories, because I think we're always going to come up against that. I don't know how to make it go away. And so, the more supportive people you can find around you, the easier it gets, I think. But it's always going to be there for some reason, especially when you're dealing with people who think they know more than you do.
Yeah, it sounds like persistence is key, right? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for the apprentices, if you had to share a valuable insight or takeaway that you've gained from this experience and wanted to share it with other emerging women or non-binary filmmakers, what would it be? Yeah.
I would say just to have confidence in your own ability and what you know. And yeah, that's kind of crucial to be able to be in this industry. Just like believe in yourself. I know that it might sound trite, but it's, it's just important. And yeah, I think that's all.
Wait, the question was, what did you learn?
Oh.
Oh, okay. So when you're presented with these opportunities to learn and grow, and it's really simple in the sense that you have to apply, you just have to show up, I think it's important to constantly just show up, because that's what I've learned, is that you have to constantly put yourself out there. And how we show people that we care is we take action and we bring in our energy and our presence. And then also, I think it's like, I had this really great point and it went ching out of my head. No matter the overwhelm too, the overwhelm that we face, if something's worth doing, like being overwhelmed and tired, I think that there's never going to be like that zen balance, like, oh, I'm creative and everything's easeful. The disease, the discomfort is also part of the positive experience. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wait, so the question is, can you say it one more time? Oh, one takeaway, right. Yeah, I think just the importance of, like, getting paired with Nicola, for me, it kind of felt like a perfect match, like, in a lot of ways, especially for the story that I wanted to tell. I feel like sometimes just that, like, there are these programs that are, designed for women, and then they kind of say, like, and non-binary sort of thing, and it sometimes I feel like it's hard to know where you fit if you're in that queer spectrum of gender and, like, not quite feeling exactly like a woman, and, like, what is my part of this? What is my experience? And I think on sets, a lot of the time, my experience has sort of been, like, not masculine enough to be one of the guys, not feminine enough to be, like, treated as a woman, really. And so I think, like, having Nicola, like, as a queer mentor just helped me through this writing process that really centers, like, a queer perspective and, like, a butch perspective, and was really fantastic in like, finding the people that, like, understand the story you're trying to tell. And from day one, Nicola was always so supportive of that. And I think I had this idea cooking for a long time before going into this mentorship, and I kind of offhand mentioned it to people, and people were kind of like, oh, that's a bit weird, okay. Like, when I would pitch it, like, oh, yeah, a butch lesbian love story at fiddle camp, people would be like, okay, interesting. But I think just the importance of, like, finding someone who really connects with the ideas and stories that you want to share. And yeah, I can't say enough thank yous to Nicola. They're a fantastic person.
Thanks, everyone. I guess because I was also a participant, I'll just share that, as Michele alluded to before, and also being, like, BIPOC as well, I think, yes, there's like a long way that we still have to go, but there is a shift. And I think now there are a lot of resources, and to kind of seek out those resources, whether it be mentorship programs, or, there's like the grant that I applied to, Creative BC, it's for equity and emerging development. And I think there are the resources out there, we just have to look for them. So yeah, that's kind of my piece of advice.
And if I could just say, one more really great resource is Story Hive. I don't know if anybody knows about Story Hive, but they are a really great place to go, especially for minority groups, women, Indigenous, to have mentors, to have a place to go where you'll have mentors, you'll have a crew. I would really recommend looking at the Story Hive program for everybody.
We're just not covered eligible. We're not Nelson now. We're not eligible in this community.
For Story Hive. Mm-hmm. You can't apply through, it's BC wide.
No,
really?
No, certain communities. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to change that then, aren't we?
Great. We all want to apply.
It's been a common topic on the group for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great program.
Yeah.
I don't understand. What?
Yeah. Different. Yeah. Okay. Well, we are coming up to 6:30. I just want to respect everyone's time because we are going over. So thanks everyone for participating in your answers and sharing your experiences. I just want to turn it to the audience if you have any questions for the participants.
Jackie, like how, going from a short form to your first feature length, and what were the aha moments of your character development?
I think kind of some of the first drafts that I showed to Nicola, they were sort of like, enough, like the world is there, like enough with the world, like what is the story here? And so I think I spent a lot of time like I just loving the world so much and developing like the music and this, that it took me kind of a minute to really like dig into like what is the story here. And I think only kind of recently as I've like finished kind of complete drafts, I realized like how much of the through line was grief really in the story. And there's a death that kind of frames the death that Maggie's husband has passed away, and it's sort of her re-entry into attraction to someone new and also back into queer life after being married to a man for a long time. And so I think like once I kind of connected and with the grief element of it, and also it became more personal. My dad passed away just a few months ago, and sharing the story with him, and like, yeah, I think realizing how much of grief was a through line was interesting in both the characters, and it kind of brought new things out to life. Yeah, and just it's interesting now. I just love these characters so much. I'm obsessed with them. Like, so that's been a good lesson too. Is like loving them even when they're really shitty. So that was like a good, yeah. But Nicola was so great and always pushing me to kind of think about, well, why are they like this? Like what, to specifically know the history of like what the decision was there. Like there's a scene where kind of Ro is talking about a band she used to be in, and it's pretty vague how she speaks about it, but Nicola was really specific, like know why the band broke up, like know that kind of thing. So that insight was really helpful. Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, sounds really good. Anyone else? Other questions? No? Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap up. Just want to thank everyone again for coming in on this beautiful sunny day, to all the participants, to KAST again for donating the space, Kootenay Co-op, Kootenay Columbia Cultural Alliance, who have a lot of amazing community grants, and of course to Carla, who's been an absolute rock star since she's joined and been a huge help with bringing community together in the Nelson and the Kootenays, and taking some photos and recording today. Yeah, so thanks everyone. We're hoping to do some more meetups here and hope to see you at the next one.